How do you stick to your goals? How do you stop falling off? How do you make real progress happen in your life? These were all questions I struggled with, which is why I'm making this video, because I found the answers. And as a result, I started a YouTube page and made videos every day for a year, even though I wasn't getting much of any views. I've created several guidebooks, and I started a business helping others reach their goals too. And these were all dreams of mine. I've always wanted to be a YouTuber. I've always wanted to start a business. I've always wanted to write books and be an author. But for the longest, I could never do that because I could never show up consistently. I didn't hold myself accountable, and I didn't know how to do any of those things. But now I do, and it all came down to learning this one very simple tool that changed the game for me. And I want to change the game for you and give you this tool too, because once you get this, you will never struggle to show up for your goals. You'll put in the work, you will hold yourself accountable, and you will reach your goals and change your life. But before I can give you this tool, I have got to give you an understanding of why this works. Because until you know the why, you're not going to do it. We all know the how to do, we all know what to do. But until we have that motivating force, the why, nothing's going to change. And the best way I can give you this understanding is to take you back to a time when I was not holding myself accountable. I don't procrastinate when it comes to doing work, right? When it comes to making videos or writing scripts or making thumbnails or doing anything like that, I don't procrastinate on. But when it comes to self-care, like getting my hair done, taking care of myself, doing things just for me, that doesn't include work, I will procrastinate on it mad hard. I will. And a few weeks ago was no different. I was procrastinating on clipping my toenails, and this was about the 5th day I was going on procrastinating. Now every night I would get in bed and I would look at those knobs on my toes and think, I need to cut these. And immediately I would think, I'm gonna get to it tomorrow. And I kept saying tomorrow until the weekend came, and I said, no, I need to tighten up, I need to clip these toenails. So I went to the calendar on my wall. Like, I literally have this gigantic calendar, and under the box that has Sunday, I put clip toenails, and that was it. And then it was Friday at that point, so I still didn't clip my toenails. I still pushed it aside, like, I'm gonna get to it. Sunday rolls around, and I look at the calendar to see what I gotta do. And underneath weekly accountability and weekly review, I see in all caps, clip toenails. Now, it would have been so easy for me to say, okay, I'll get to it later, whatever. But it wasn't easy, because now I had that task up where I could see it. Well, now the only way to get rid of it was to do the thing so I could cross it off. And that gave me the little bit of energy I needed to finally get my toenail clippers and clip my toenails. I don't know, this was such a wild example, but I tell you this story because I need you to understand how important it is to see whether or not you're working on your goals, right? Because for a whole week straight, I kept saying, I'm gonna clip them, I'm gonna clip them, I'm gonna clip my toenails. But it wasn't until I literally wrote down as a task, clip your toenails. And I saw it, and I couldn't just close my eyes and make it disappear. I had to literally do it so I could cross it off. That was what gave me the small drive needed to get it done. Now that you understand how important it is to see whether or not you're doing something, how important it is to see if you're working on your goals, you're not working on your goals, the next question becomes, well, how do you see that? How do you see whether or not you're working on your goals or not? That is what we're going to get into for the rest of this video. But before we get into that, if you don't know who I am, my name is Faith, and my entire goal with this page is to help you reach your goals. Now, if you're serious about that, and you want to reach your goals and change your life and stop letting your potential waste away right now, go down to the first link in my description, click that, and I will see you there. Years back in college, I was in bed, drifting off to sleep. I'm like literally seconds away from La La Land, and it feels so good. You know that feeling when you're drifting off and you just feel at peace and content and nothing matters? I was just falling back into oblivion until I got a thought. And that thought said, remember, you still have a written for today. And I'm over here literally 1 foot into my dreams, and I hear that thought. The last thing I want to do is get up. The day is over. I've already lost. I'm just not going to write today. But something in me doesn't let that happen because I know what not writing means, and I don't want to lose the progress I've already made. And so I pull myself out of my sleep. I get up and grab my laptop, open it up, pull up a document, and just randomly type in some words. Like, it doesn't make sense at all, but the goal for me for that day is not to make a lot of words that make sense. It's just to type something. Okay, so I just typed whatever, I got it done, I did my writing, boom, bam. Now, before I get back in bed, I go over to my wall, I take my pencil, and I have this little flashcard hanging on it. I erase the number 55, and I put 56 days to mark that this is my 56th day in a row that I've written something. And even though I didn't write a complete full sentence that made sense, I still showed up, opened up my laptop, and typed in some words I wrote. And once I finished that, I got back in bed and went to sleep. Do you understand how much discipline that takes? When you're already done with the day, you're drifting off to sleep, but you still get up to write. You wanna know what drove me to do that? The fact that I was tracking myself, tracking whether or not I was writing. Because if I didn't track myself, I would have no clue. I would just say I'll get to later, and then I'll have a pile up of laters, and I'd still be thinking, oh, but I haven't wasted that much time. I still have like tomorrow. But that is no longer an issue for me, because if I say later and I'm tracking myself, and when I say tracking, I'm literally saying I'm writing down yes or no, whether or not I wrote that day or not. Every single day I'm writing that down. Did I write the day or not? Did I write the day or not? The fact that I can see that, now I'm going to write because it stays on my mind. It stays on my mind, and things that stay on your mind tend to get played out. That's why when I was shifting off, my mind said, you forgot to sleep. You forgot to write, Because for 55 days in a row, all I did was write some words. That is the key to stay accountable. Track yourself. This is a tactic I learned from Atomic Habits, and it changed my entire life. You wanna know what led me to posting every single day on YouTube for a year, even though I got no views, barely? It's because I tracked whether or not I filmed for the day. And I'm gonna show you some trackers pop up on the screen. I track whether or not I reach out to my family. I track how many miles I walk. I track whether I meditate. I track whether I read. And because I track these things, I'm held accountable for doing them. Do you understand what I'm trying to get at here? So if you want to stop falling off, track yourself. And don't set this big goal. Like, okay, I'm going to track myself. So I'm going to make sure that, let's say you want to work out. I'm going to track myself and I'm going to work out every single day. No. Work out for 5 minutes once a week. And I know you're thinking, whoa, that's so low. I could do that easily. That's nothing. That's the point. Because right now, you've not built the habit within yourself. You're jumping to this big level you can't even reach yet. You're not there. And I wasn't there for a long time. But the only reason I got to where I am is because I started from the bare minimum. Because you don't understand that when you make those big goals, you have a villain inside of you. That villain is called laziness. It's called resistance. It's called procrastination. And if you put that enemy against this big goal that you want to achieve, they're going to beat the mess out of that goal. They're going to overpower it because they don't want you to do it. But let's say you say, I'm going to go work out for 5 minutes once a week. What is laziness and procrastination going to do? That goal is so beneath them, they're not even going to look at it. They're not even going to, and sometimes you may feel lazy, but because you tell yourself, okay, well, all I got to do is just 5 minutes, go to the gym and get out, you'll actually get up and do it. You won't say, I'll do it later. That's what happened to me. That bare minimum goal for me with writing was literally to just write a few sentences. They didn't even have to make sense. All I wanted to do was build the habit of opening up my laptop and writing because I understood that once the habit was formed, that would take me far ahead because habits shape your identity. I am a writer now. I write every single day. Thousands of words. Why? Because it's a habit. And I built that habit by tracking myself doing the bare minimum. And if you do that too, you will always stay accountable to your goals because you'll know whether or not you're doing it. This is a very simple tool. Most people will overlook this, but it's the small things in life that makes the biggest difference. It's the small. How many times have you gotten bitten by an elephant? Like, think about it. Have you ever gotten bit by an elephant? Right? Have you ever gotten bit by a mosquito? Okay. It's the small things, not the big things. And this small tool of just tracking yourself will make gigantic changes in your life. And I know that you want to see changes happen in your life. There are things you want to achieve, and you can't achieve those things. Whatever it is you want to accomplish, ask yourself, what habits do I need to get there? For me, I want to be a writer. And so I knew the habit of being a writer was writing. I wanted to be in shape. I wanted to be active. And I knew to be active, I had to get out and go for a walk. And so I built these habits up. Now, when you figure out the habits you need that'll get you to the place you want to be at, track them. Create your own system to track them. And that would change everything. Or you can be like the average person. Because the average person, they have habits too. They aren't intentional about picking their habits. They don't track whether or not they're doing it, but they're doing it often. They don't know how often they're doing this, but they're doing it all the time. And they're creating a life that they're not proud of. The average person, they watch TV every single day in a row. They're on their phone. They're playing the game. They don't do anything productive. They just entertain themselves. That's the only habits they have. And if they track themselves, they would realize that they're spending more of their life confined in these walls, staring at screens like a freaking zombie. And that would wake them up. But the reason they're not woken up is because they aren't aware of what they're doing. They're just doing it. But that level of awareness is so powerful. And that's what tracking helps you increase. Tracking helps you increase your awareness. Now, the average person, they're unaware. They have habits that don't make them better. They're creating a pitiful life. Is that what you want? It's not. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. You want a beautiful life. You have a beautiful life. But I know you want to achieve more. And you can. But the only way you're going to do that is if you do things differently. And this is one thing you can do differently. Think about the habit you want to build that will get you the life you want. And then track whether or not you're doing the habit and set a bare minimum goal, an easy goal that you can obtain. And that'll change the game. Now, if you got this far, I have a request for you. Please leave me a comment and tell me who you are. Tell me what your goals are. I want to get to know you so that I can make better content to help you. But ultimately, you have got this, and I believe in you.